Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment on The Weekend Show. My name is Andy Madaki. The Weekend Show lifestyle segment is brought to you by Holo Crunch Popcorn. Just like you heard in the national anthem, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. But how united are we? How divided are we? And most of the times, religion is always a factor. In the run-up to the primaries, we also had a lot of conversation, and even after the primaries, about a Muslim-Muslim ticket, a Muslim-Christian ticket. But where does this stand in uniting Nigeria? Is religion actually a focus, or do we want competent and capable people? However, religious leaders have a major role to play in ensuring that there is peace and unity. And having a conversation on religion and politics with us, I have in the studio Emeka Anyora, a pastor of All Saints Church. All Saints Anglican Church. Welcome to the Weekend Show.
Thank you very much.
Also joining us, we have Hussaini Hassan, the Amir of Muslim Community Jumat Mosque Massacre. Welcome to the Weekend Show. So we'll start with you, the priest.
Okay.
Jesus preached about love. A lot of the gospel in the Bible speaks about love and how you treat the next person. Love your neighbor as yourself is something which we constantly hear. And regardless of religion, we still have differences and strife in the country. But we also, around this period, because campaigns have started, hear a lot of statements by religious leaders which could dictate the tone of their followers and how they vote or who they support. What's your take on religious leaders being involved in politics and the decisions of their audience or congregants?
Yeah, it's important for us to note that religious leaders are representing the congregations. They have people under them that they represent. They represent Christ first of all, but they're also accountable to the congregation. They supervise the congregation, they counsel the congregation, they lead their congregations. People look at them as a voice. People look at them as a source of inspiration. So whatever they do or say matters a lot, and they have a serious control, a reasonable amount of control over their followers. Now, when you talk about politics in Nigeria, when you begin to have some issues, for instance, the Muslim ticket that we experience in Nigeria currently with one of the political parties, you find out that members will begin to ask, does it mean that we are not represented? Does it mean that we are not carried along? What is really happening? Don't we have, for instance, the APC said they have this based on competence. We agree, but then you picked a running mate from the north. Does it mean you're telling the northern Christians that they are all incompetent? I mean, so the members will come back to their pastors, their priests, for answers. And then you have to direct them, you have to guide them. So this is where the role of the priest or the pastor or the Christian leader comes up. You have to guide the people. And in most cases, you don't have an explanation. What do you explain to them? How do you explain to a northern Christian that you are incompetent, that no Christian can be selected? Every Christian in the north is incompetent. How do you explain that? Now, that notwithstanding, we must also be mindful of not further dividing the nation. Christianity is a religion that is based on love and mutual understanding. We were taught to love our neighbors as ourselves, to love even our enemies. A Christian is not permitted to hate his enemy or dislike his enemy or avenge himself. We are told to love, we are told to care for our enemies, we are told to not to avenge ourselves. So based on that, people should not take us as people who do not know what they are doing, or people shouldn't take that love and mutual understanding that Christianity preaches for granted. I mean, the Muslim ticket is a no-go area for Nigeria. It can't help us. It will further divide us.
So, Amir Hussain, we now have a situation where we have our leading presidential candidates from all the parties. However, a reason why Nigerians are very religious is also as a result of the failure of leadership. And so we now turn to God because man have failed in most cases. And so religious leaders do have a role to play. But how important is the role of people like you and religious leaders in politics in the country?
Okay, thank you very much. As you can see, religious leaders are representing God, because God says in the Holy Quran, He has created Prophet Adam for this world to represent Him. and as our great-grandfather, as a prophet, we emulate them, and we are spiritual leaders who preach to people. When you talk of politics, religious leaders has a role to play, just like my brother said. And sometimes people see politics as different game and religion as different game. To my view, they work together because that based on leadership. When you talk of leadership, that is where God comes first when you are ruling people. So what's the main problem that we in Nigeria are facing today, as he said, we don't consider competency. And that is one of the problems that is affecting the Nigerian politics today. If I'm from your place, your tribe or your religion, you're after that. You don't look at, am I competent in that position? And that is what is really affecting us now. In respect to APC picking Muslim tickets, to me, I see that as, since we have so many political parties, and they have their doctrine or they have their principle, which they, then if they decide to pick Muslim tickets, we have other parties also. You can make, because party or politics is a game of choice. You decide who to go to, who to represent you. It's a matter of numbers, who vote for who. So, but we as the religious leaders, we shouldn't use that to create problem in the society. The only thing we mobilize our followers, since just like he said, go for who you see can represent you. But let us not consider that, but let us consider competency. If I see APC candidate is not competent for me, I should go for another one. That is why we have multi-parties. So I want us to understand that picking a Muslim ticket shouldn't bring a problem. We have many parties. They can also pick a Christian ticket. If, as I'm sitting down, I saw that Christian man is more competent than this Muslim, I should go for him. To me, this will unite us and move us forward. But when we keep on emphasizing or laying complaint on that, we are creating more problem to the society. Because somebody who said, I'm not represented, somebody who said they have maybe kind of neglect us. No, it's a game of choice. You go for who you want. The only thing, how do you get it? Politics, those people in politics are thinking of how to get power. Because politics is struggle to get power, control resources, and how to get that power and to control resources and represent their people. That is politics. They don't know what you see. What they want, how will I get it? He doesn't care what you say or what you do. His concern is how to get the position. That is his own concern. But we as religious leaders now have to come back and sit down. Tell our people, let's go for competent people. Let's not go for religion issue, because that is what is killing Nigeria today. If somebody in my religion is not competent, I will say, since he's from my place, he will go there. When he goes there, all of us will suffer. I will complain, you will complain, everybody, even the religion will go back. Then what are we doing? We are going back always. So I will also advise that we, the religious leaders, shouldn't look at that aspect. We should always convince our people. Let's look at the record of someone who came out. What do you have to offer? Some of them have been in politics for long. Let's check their record. What did they offer Nigeria during their time? Did they have anything to give us now? Or is just coming out and using religion? You can see, thank God that INEC has said they shouldn't use religious places for campaign, which I had that. Because they know most of them have nothing to offer. The only place they will capture is the religious leaders, because they know the religious leaders control the mindset of their followers.
Let me bring Reverend Onyera back in, and he just made a vital point which segues into my next question. In the next couple of months, politicians will become the most religious, and they will start going to all the churches, leading praise and worship, and wanting a space on the podium to speak. While the church and the mosque is a subset of the society, a major part of the society actually, and a huge percentage of the voters, What's your take on religious leaders? We've seen in the press religious leaders making political statements, and we've also seen a lot of these politicians given a stage in churches to come and campaign. What's your take, and how does that work with your parish?
The average Nigerian is a very religious person, average African. And we cannot divorce religion from our politics, because whoever is vying for any political office belongs to is either a Muslim or a Christian. If he's a Christian, for instance, he belongs to a denomination. And if he belongs to that denomination, he has a church and he has a pastor. Now, he may have been active in that church before going further to vie for that position, or he may have been passive. So if he's a member of the church and he's vying for a position, you can't rule out him coming forward to address the people. They are his congregation. He's part of the congregation. He's a member of the church. So addressing the people, telling them his intentions cannot be ruled out. But then we must be careful. Careful in the sense that sometimes most of the people, I want to use the word most of the people who parade themselves as, I don't know about the Muslim brother here, but most of the people who parade themselves as Christian politicians, most of them are not Christians in the real sense of the word. Do you understand? So when you allow them certain stages in church, they may turn it in, what they know is politics. They are not practicing Christians per se. So what they know is politics. So when they come out, they will politicize everything. But you see, what I want us not to lose sight of in whatever we are discussing is that even if you are you are basing your choice on equity, please try and understand that Nigeria is a diverse society. Try and understand that when you talk about competence without equity, competence without equity is not reasonable, it's not acceptable. And because you have people, you are diverse. We are a representation of people, so many people. You have so many religions. You have two major religions, Christian and Muslims. They kind of divide Nigeria into halves. Then if you are picking anybody to represent you, then you must be sure that the other religion is also considered. And I'm coming. You must be sure the other religion is also considered. Because this is what is the cause, this is the cause of the problem. Because when these people feel they are not represented, the next thing is that they begin to agitate and they begin to ask questions. And the question will be directed to the priest, or the pastor, or the leader of the church. And the leader of the church will be required to give answers. And then this member of the church that is coming out to vie for that position will come out and tell the people that I want this position. And you can't stop them from supporting him. Remember, out there, they felt marginalized. They are not recognized. Now, in here, they feel, oh, this is our person. He's coming out. Granted, equity is, granted, performance, capability is very necessary. But where you have so many multiple religious representations, you must also remember that equity is necessary. Remember that representation is key. You can't just come to Nigeria and say, oh, and I can pick a Muslim to be, I'm a Muslim, I pick a Muslim, and then that settles it. If you don't want to vote, if you don't want me, you can vote the other party. I am a leading party for crying out loud. The APC is the party in charge of Nigeria. They are the leading party in Nigeria. So they are kind of representing Nigeria. So they should represent Nigeria very well. When you do that, you make our job, you make it less stressful for us, because we can talk to our people, we can encourage our people. There is equity out there. Make your choice. That is where what he's saying will suffice. Make your choice. But where people are not properly represented, you make our job very difficult. How do you explain it? And we can't deceive the people. We can't lie to the people. They feel they are not represented. What do I tell them? Oh, you feel you are not represented, so go ahead, make your choice. You can choose that person. It doesn't matter. Religion is not an issue here. My brother, in Nigerian politics, religion is an issue anytime, any day. And that is why when you are picking a presidential candidate, and if it's a Christian, please never you dream of picking a Christian as a running mate. You are going to overcharge the polity. You are going to create a lot of problems, and that is what we have now. Our hands are filled up with challenges. Why? Because of that singular act, and it's kind of dividing the country. And the solution is not telling people to choose whom they want they can make their choice. It's not the solution. The solution would have been going back to drawing board and correct the error. It's a major error to the Nigerian existence, a major error.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Anyaro. Amir Hussein, so let's come to politics, since we're talking about politics now. You have your audience, and so does the priest. What questions should Nigerians ask of the people coming to run for election? Because whether INEC says it or not, they'll still come to the churches and the mosque. What areas do you feel our next set of leaders should focus on to improve the country? And after that, we'll get the same from the priest.
To me, there are a lot of things that Nigerians need to ask you when you come forward. As I said earlier, if you're coming out to contest for any position, let's look at your record. Because our politicians are fond of fooling people. They only make fake promises. But let's look at your record in the previous administration. What did you do? What did you offer? If there is nothing, people should not vote for you. But if we have record of what you have did in the previous or the position you acquire, you have something to show, then people should go for you. Because what we need now, because most of our politicians today can write manifestation, can write whatsoever in the book, design, they will bring it out nice, but when it comes to implementation, nothing. So what we need now is, we shouldn't look at someone individual, we should look at the past history of that person, and also we, the people, should give him our demand. Not allow him to decide. We should tell him our problem. And if he's ready to solve that problem, we vote for him.
Do you want to list out some of the problems?
Example, insecurity, which we are facing now in this country, is one of the biggest problems. Because if there is no security, nothing will move. Can you solve Nigerian insecurity problem? Because we believe God can do it by using man. So, other countries that have faced this kind of problem, how do they solve it? Do you have that experience? Yes. We have high price of commodities. Schools are closed. There are a lot of problems, which if you look at where we are going today, Nigeria is going nowhere with this kind of way we are going. So the only thing is that, can you solve this problem? Yes. What ways can you use? You need to bring it out. So Nigerians shouldn't allow the politicians to decide for them, because Nigerians knows their problems. They should tell politicians their problem, and they should agree.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Let's hear from you, Reverend.
I think it will be best to go beyond can you. We have been seeing can you do it, and a politician will tell you, yes, I can. We have been seeing that all this while. That's the problem. Like, we always see people who tell you, I can do it. Have you done it? What is your antecedent? We judge precedent by antecedent. If you have not done it before, Nigeria is not a place where you come to learn on the job. That's the problem we have currently. We have men who are learning on the job. You know, you have a lot of trial and errors. So, have you done it before? Is there any proof that you have done it before? But beyond that, I also want to highlight this. The major problem of Nigeria is not insecurity. Our problem is disunity. So we need a leader who can unite us. A leader who understands the Nigerian setup. A leader who understands that Nigeria is multilingual. A leader who understands that Nigeria is not a Nigeria that is, it's not a nation of one religion. We have Christians, we have Muslims, we have African traditional religion practices. So a leader who will understand this. And it must reflect in everything he does, reflect in his appointments, reflect in virtually everything. That is what we need. We need unity. A united nation progresses. Where there is unity, there is progress. Where there is no unity, there can never be security. We are insecure because we are not united. That's our major problem. What is happening? Some of our soldiers are, you know, the news we hear. I mean, you are in the news. You should know better than I do on this. Some of the military men we have, very agile, very capable. What before they get to the place they are going for an operation, they are ambushed. Somebody would have told it, would have informed the enemy that they are coming. Why is it so? Because we are not united. If I see my brother as a Nigerian and he sees me as a Nigerian, my congregation sees his congregation as Nigerians, and we consider Nigeria first. First, we are Nigerians before we talk about any other thing. I tell you, we will go a long way. This politics of division will not be, the politicians will not have, they are few. The politicians are fewer than the Nigerians. So let's deal with unifying the nation first. Then secondly, you talk about the economy. When we are united and are hungry, there will be agitation. When we are united and there is no job, there will be agitation. I mean, you can't spend a fortune training your child in school and he comes back and he's at home, mopping the floor for you, looking at you, still depending on you after you have invested much on him. So you talk about unity, you must talk about economy. We must have a very viable economy. We have all it takes to do that.
Reverend, in 30 seconds, what's your final charge to Nigerians and Christians as we wrap up? So in 30 seconds.
My final charge is vote competence, vote credibility. Vote people, you have said it, you know people who can unite Nigeria. If anybody has started off his campaign with disunity, avoid that person. Vote people who can unite us. Unless we are united as a nation, we cannot progress as a nation.
Thank you. Amir Hassan Hussein, to the Nigerians and Muslims, what's your final charge to them in 30 seconds?
My final charge to them is that, just like he said, we should look at credible people who have the experience and capable of leading this country forward. We shouldn't look at our tribe or our set, but we should look at competency so that Nigeria will progress. So thank you very much.
Reverend Emeka Anyora of the Priest of All Saints Anglican Church, Idu, and Amir Hussein Hassan from Massacre. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your candid and honest thoughts on this. We are all in it for Nigeria and Nigerians, and we will bring you on as the campaigns continue. And to our leaders, Nigerians are watching. Nigerians will hold you accountable. And to Nigerians, it goes beyond registering to vote. You actually have to go and vote. And vote your choice. Don't be bullied into it, because the future of Nigeria is in your hands. And